Yo, what's going on, guys? Hey, welcome back to J Will Trap TV. Hey guys, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live or make a new video. Guys, I just got done watching that new episode and I am just, oh my God, it was such a good episode. I'm like, oh, but we gotta recap it. You know what we're gonna say? Spoilers ahead, guys, spoilers ahead. Okay, so let's jump right in. We're gonna jump right into this recap. All right, let's go. Okay, guys, okay, so we come in with the recap, and look, we still got Rock. She's running the drug empire. We got Marvin, he's attending his anger management classes with Miss Renee. Remember, we were told he can go into the meetings and sign out, but she's telling him he has to stay. Howard is still running with our story. He doesn't know who the shooter is, even though he does know that Kanan shot him. Jessica was sleeping with Crown, and she's going to LA. He hooked her up with a job, and it looks like she's gonna start making her way out there. We see that Scrap gets picked up while he's gambling at his mom's house. And what's also interesting is we have an officer in the precinct saying that Scrap is a criminal informant. What's going on with that, Scrap? And finally, guys, we got Howard meeting up with our favorite drug kingpin, Raquel Thomas. Yes, sir. What is going to happen? Hopefully we start the episode off with this scene. Okay, so guys, first scene, we're starting the first scene off with the Kanan monologue, okay? And Kanan's telling us, hey, you can't keep your feet up because, you kick your feet up, you relax too much. Next thing you know, things, you might miss out on some things happening around you. So look, we got Howard, we got Rock, they're at the park, it's dark. They are over here, they're kind of catching up a little bit. Howard tells Rock, hey, you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. Common thing. Remember last episode, Kanan told Juke that she shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. Rock replies with that Howard was the one who handed her first cigarette, and he says that's one of his many mistakes. Next scene is Kanan and Juke. And Kanan, he's watching a movie. I'm not actually sure what movie this is. You guys are gonna hate me for not knowing what it is. But anyway, I don't know what movie it is. But anyway, some kid is shooting somebody, and he's kind of like crying about it or whatever. And Juke tells him that hey, you still soft, huh? You still soft. And they have like a little pillow fight in the scene. Good to see those two relatives, playing around, having fun together and actually being children. Howard tells Rock that he wants Kanan to know that he is his biological father. He also gives her a paternity test when she tries to kind of throw him off the trail a bit. He also gives them some other information telling them that, hey, you guys got a snitch in your guys' crew, and he's only telling her this information to keep Kanan safe. It's daytime now, we're with Kanan, he comes to a door, and he's knocking on Famous's door. Jessica answers the door, and she tells him, oh, thank God you're here. I need your help waking up Famous, because, my mom is coming home soon, and if she sees this scale in the house, she's gonna freak out. So we go in the room, Famous is in the room sleeping with some chick, and they are passed out. Kanan wakes him up by twisting his nipple. Famous wakes up, Jessica lets him know, hey, you need to get up, get your stuff together. Mom's gonna be here soon, et cetera, et cetera. Fame gives them, he gives them some jive. And then next, Mom walks in and she gets really upset, saying that she doesn't want any whores in the house, et cetera, et cetera. Fame says, I didn't want the girl sleeping on the street. But then she tells him to get out. She kicks him out. Fame says, I don't have any money. She still kicks him out. So now Fame is on the streets. And it's kind of funny because, now you got to make those rhymes, Fame. Now you got to really spit those verses because, now you ain't got nowhere to live, bro. Get it together, bro. Okay, so now we come in and we are at anger management with Marvin. And Marvin, he's here in anger management. Renee, she's leading this session. She's kind of talking to everybody, asking about their triggers. And it's pretty funny because Marvin's sitting there, he's eating some Fritos and he's eating them as loud as he can. He's crunching, and she's going through, she's asking people what their different triggers are. There's this guy named Joe and he says that he hates being ignored. So they keep going through and they ask a few other people, what their triggers are. And then, because Marvin just keeps, not taking the meeting seriously, she asks Marvin what his triggers are. And this kind of starts an altercation between Marvin and Joe. And Marvin doesn't really start fighting the guy, but the Joe guy gets really upset, gets kind of in Marvin's face, and Marvin lets him know, hey, you don't want this. Renee tells Marvin, hey, you're not off the hook, and she kind of gives him a warning and says, like, hey, you got to kind of engage more, and then we end that scene. We're now back at the scene. Looks like it's at Raquel's house, and Raquel, she stops by Juke's room, and she asks Kanan where he is, and Juke says she doesn't know, and she also asks Raquel about if she knew her mother. And Rock sits down and she tells her, yeah, she knew her mom. And Juke asks, hey, well, can you tell me about her? Like, what was she like? And then, Rock tells Juke that her mother Kenya gave her the gift of singing, but that she wasn't really cut out to be a parent and she just couldn't do it. And when Juke kind of pushes her, Rock says, really, I never really talked to her about it. But Rock does assure her that, she's an amazing human being, she's beautiful, and that she missed out. And she gives her a kiss on the cheek, and I thought it was a really good scene, because in this scene you can tell, Rock, even though she might not be, the greatest person, morally, she really does care about Juke, and she treats her, like a real daughter, like a family member. But I will say, Juke needs a little bit more. We now go down to the station, where we come in on the scene where Nicole's parents are still there. They're very distraught. Her mom is yelling about how the police, had some interaction. If you remember last season, Bert, had Juke, and there was some definite, kind of gray area stuff going on between their, as far as their interaction goes between, police and the suspect goes. So the parent is rightfully upset, yelling about how the cops, the blood is on their hands as well, because, we still haven't figured out how she was murdered, but the cops assure her that there's no proof that Juke gave her the pill or put the pill in her backpack. And the mom is just like, no, well, pretty much, she showed her how to use this drug. And because she did that, she pretty much aimed the gun to my child and killed her. But the cops, they hold strong, and then, she leaves. So Burke stays there, and she says, hey, Captain, thank you for defending me and having my back. And the captain gets upset, and he tells her, no, you should not have had that relationship with Jukebox. And this is, bad on the whole station. I'm defending the department. I'm not defending you. So Burke kind of takes that and leaves the office. So now we come in on another scene where Rock is meeting with Marvin and Lou on the Scraps snitching situation. And they're kind of going over it. And Marvin's saying, well, I could probably see, but Lou is adamant that, hey, we cannot move on this unless it is 100%. 100%, we know for sure that Scrap is snitching. Rock asks Marvin to fill out Scrappy to see if he can find anything or if he can smell anything. We then have Worrell walk into the room, and he kind of tells Rock that, hey, my mom knows I'm here. If I die, she's gonna know you guys did it. And then, Rock tells him you would have already been dead. We end that scene. We don't get too much more there. We now switch back to Kanan and Fame is kind of thinking of where he's gonna live. He has a trash bag, has all of his clothes in a trash bag. We're trying to figure some stuff out. Fame proposes they try to sell some of his mixtapes. Kanan's kind of a little iffy. He's saying, man, those mixtapes, they aren't already selling. Fame says, look, man, we ain't got nothing else to do. So they kind of move on, and it looks like they're gonna start selling some mixtapes. We come back in on the meeting with Raquel and Worrell and Marvin and Lou. Rock tells Worrell that Neek, even though he's out, he's not going to be able to get the business he had, and that when Worrell's out on the corners trying to make money, he's just pretty much licking their scraps. She's telling him that the real money is with their crew. Worrell's a little hesitant because they have a lot of history. Rock assures them that's over with, and they're moving forward. Marvin says that in their crew, they can't have a lot of drama with the police, and they want to keep the police away from all the business, because having the police is, of course, bad business. Rock tells him that he'll be working under Lou. Worrell checks with Lou to make sure they're all good from the situation, and Lou says, hey man, we ain't dating, it's all good, this is business. That's that. Now we got Worrell on the team. We now switch to Lou, Fame, and Kanan in the studio. So we now come in on the scene. Kanan and Famous, they're inside Lou's studio. It's like they're gathering those mixtapes, to go out and sell. Lou walks in, he checks in with Kanan, and Kanan gives him a handshake, and it's all respect. Nephew, uncle relationship. Fame tries to shake his hand, and it's like, nah, bro. I'm a producer, you're an artist, we're gonna keep this professional. We're not gonna be, shaking hands like that. He does take him to the side though and tells him, hey man, if you lay off that weed and you get your stuff together, start writing rhymes again, I will get you back inside the studio. So hopefully there's some hope there for Fame. So now we switch back to the liquor store. We didn't get to see this last episode. So Rock is with the lady from the liquor store, and I don't remember this lady's name, but if you remember last season, her husband was mean to her, and then Rock killed the guy, and then she took over the liquor store, and now she's kind of laundering Rock's money. So they're inside the storage room with all the money, and she's showing her that, hey, these rats are eating all the money up, and they're just, eating the money. So Rock tells her to hire an exterminator. The lady says, well, Rock, why are you just saving up your money like this? When I stack my chips, I send it back to my country, and I take care of my fam. Rock kind of thinks about it for a second, but then tells her, hey, hire an exterminator. So then Rock walks out, and she sees Worrell's girlfriend, and she just kind of stares her down, gives her this, I'm telling you, just stared her down, bro. She kind of walks out, and then, Worrell's girlfriend gets scared and kind of fidgets around, and, you can tell she's very concerned, drug kingpin, Scarface just scared you down, let you know Hey, you in my territory. It was not a pretty scene. Would not have wanted to be her. We then come in on Scrappy's drug operation. Marvin comes in to check in with them. You know, he kind of asks Scrappy how he's doing, and he says, "Hey, where were you at last night? I kind of hit you." And Scrappy actually lies. He doesn't tell him the truth, says he was with his cousin Ebony somewhere, you know, somewhere around the way, helping her out with some work. And then he kind of gets in, he says like, "Hey, but word travels fast. We heard that, you know, you put Warrell on the 40s, and I've been a soldier for you for this long. I've put in work. I lost my eye, et cetera, et cetera. I've done all this stuff for you guys." And then he kind of really tells us like, "Bro, like, you know how hard it is to hang a picture with one eye? You know how hard it is to see some of these street signs, to be on these streets with one eye? You know how hard it is to count this money, to count this bread with one eye? You know what I'm saying? You know how hard it is for these niggas to be out here telling me that boy from around the way who wasn't even with us got the 40s, and I gotta listen to these niggas with one eye?" Yeah, he's hot. He's not happy about what's going on. Marvin kind of listens, and you know, the funny thing is, if the snitching stuff wasn't going on, it would probably be a different scene. But Marvin kind of just listens, and then he walks away. So he's kind of weighing his investigation, and he sees that Scrappy is upset. He ain't happy with the Thomases, and so he kind of takes that in and he heads out. Push for another scene, and we have Rock, and she's, you know, looks like she's, you know, at a realtor's office or something, and he's shopping for a home, and the realtor's just being so prejudiced. He's like, "Oh yeah, so in these pricier neighborhoods, yeah, you probably don't want to go over there. It's a little pricey there. You know, I don't know if you're gonna need a credit check. You know, you're gonna need this score. You're gonna be able to, you know, show proof of income. You know." And then Rock's like, "I'm coming with all cash." You know, she's like, "Okay, well, oh, you got cash. Okay, well, we're gonna need some, you know, some proof of income. You know, how you got the money, where you got it, previous year's tax returns, et cetera, et cetera. We're gonna need all these different things." Rock's like, "Okay, all that. You know what? Make sure you give me a spot in one of those more pricier neighborhoods you was talking about." Rock kind of, you know, she listened to what homegirl said. She went. Now she's, you know, trying to move to the Hamptons. You feel me? She's out there in New York trying to, you know, move to the suburbs. You know, move out to Jersey. Move, you know, maybe Syracuse. You know, and I'm not really familiar with the New York area. But anyway, she is trying to move out the hood. She don't want to be up in those projects. Remember last season when those dudes rolled up, started shooting at the house and whatnot? Yeah, we ain't got time for that. We switch to the next scene. Juke is sitting down thinking, has her mom's picture in her hand, and she also has Lieutenant Burke, or I don't know if she's a lieutenant, but maybe Detective Burke's card in her hand. So it looks like she's gonna contact Detective Burke to figure out what happened to her mother. So now we switch up. We got Marvin, he's in a different area. He pulls up on Scrappy's cousin Ebony, and he kind of asks her, "Hey, I heard you need some work. I'm a handyman. What's going on?" Because remember, Scrappy was saying that he was helping hang pictures and do work with his cousin, and so he's checking out that story to see if Scrappy's telling the truth about his whereabouts. So she kind of doesn't really help Scrappy's story. She says like, "Nah, I don't tell nobody nothing, and we ain't doing none of this stuff. What you talking about?" And then Marvin takes off. But it's kind of funny though, because she goes like, "Hey, what kind of handyman drives a Lexus?" And I was gonna say, what kind of handyman rolls up with a big freaking golden chain on this? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. But anyway, so Scrappy, your story's not checking out, man. Things are not looking good for you, partner. I hope we can get this settled. I hope we can figure out. I hope something comes in for you at the last second. Okay, so now we switch over. We are in the studio. Yeah, we're in the studio. So we got Crown and we got Lou, and they're discussing Zisa, and they're saying, you know, he's saying, Lou's saying this, you know, Zisa is the new thing, and Crown's, you know, he kind of doesn't agree. He's saying, "Nah, I don't think so. I don't know if this is the girl." But then Lou's like, "Well, look, man, I got a bigger say in all this. So, you know, I'm the one spending all the bread over here. So, you know, whatever I say kind of goes." But then we get a new character, Cartier Don Sharif, and we get this, you know, of course, with any important new character, they're introduced by old Kanan. And Kanan tells us this guy, he's all about clean money, big player, et cetera, et cetera. You know, this guy, he's a big fish. He's at the top of the totem pole. A lot of money with this guy. And he comes in with Zisa, so it's like, okay, what's going on? And then Lou's like, "Yo, wait. Hey, I didn't know this was your uncle." Like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I'm not trying to take you from nothing. I'm not trying to do nothing like that. But then Cartier starts talking business. He starts saying that, "Hey, you know, Zisa's a good artist. She's cream of the crop. But I don't know if your studio can kind of give her and get her into the position where she needs to be and give her the deal that she deserves." Well, how about we do this? How about we do like a single deal? We'll make a single, we'll work together. If everything's cool, we'll talk, you know? And then Crown is like, wait a second. Single deals are for suckers. If she blows up, then we lose this artist. We don't get anything from it. And Cartier also brings up some dude named Hector, says he's done a lot of business. Crown says, don't worry about that. So I'm not sure who Hector is, but maybe we'll get more information on that later. But anyway, we get back to the deal. They say they want to do the single deal. Cartier says, hey, if you guys can hit some certain targets, then maybe we can talk signing her to your label. Lou says it's a done deal. They shake hands. Crown gets really well, I don't know if really upset, but he gets upset. He kind of protests, says single deals are for suckers that are in scene. We switch to Kanan and Fame selling mixtapes. It is not going too well. Two cops walk up, give them a bunch of trouble, think they're selling drugs. They take the mixtapes, empty out the mixtapes. They find out they're not selling drugs. They say, hey, you guys need a permit to sell, you know, anything on the corner. They don't have a permit, of course. But because they are not actually doing a good job selling anything or making any money or any profit, the cops let them go and tell them that real rappers aren't on the side of streets selling their mixtape. So now we have Marvin meeting with a lawyer, and he's telling the lawyer that these anger management meetings kind of suck. The lawyer tells him that he was able to track down Tony and that she's engaged to a dentist. We switch to a scene with Juke and Lieutenant Burke. They are inside the police car. Looks like Burke has found Juke's mom, gives her an address. Juke takes the address. Burke tells Juke that she owes her, and we end that scene. We now come inside some police station somewhere in New York City, and we have Howard talking with two other detectives, and they're just kind of running through the whole homicide again, or attempted homicide. And pretty much they're saying, hey, Neek's blood didn't match what was on your jacket. It's not Neek. We called him at McDonald's. It's definitely not Neek. There was some crackhead guy. He said he seen a kid, but it wasn't good enough lead to go off of, so we pretty much got nothing. Howard, already knowing who the shooter is, just pretty much, okay, cool, and heads out. When he heads out, these cops are like, that guy, yeah, NYPD Hall of Fame. So the cops love Howard. The cops love Howard. They look at Howard as like the OG of NYPD. So keep that in mind as the season goes on, because I'm sure that's going to factor into how Howard is able to kind of maneuver through the police, because, you know, all of the trust he has. We now come in at a scene where pretty much Kanan's come home. Rock, kind of asks him where he's been. Kanan's like, oh, what's up? And, Rock is like, hey, you just gotta let me know where you are so, I can keep you safe, etc. Then Kanan's like, what's going on? I can tell something's going on. So then, Rock kind of breaks down. She says, hey, I talked to Detective Howard. He's been talking a lot of nonsense. Just watch out for this guy. He might step up to you on the streets. Whatever he says, don't believe him. He's just, he's all screwed up in the head. Like, don't believe him. But then Kanan's like, wait a second. I thought you said this dude wouldn't remember me. I thought you said everybody in the hospital said this guy was crazy. I thought this guy can't even recognize my face. And then she's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just, whatever he says, just don't believe it. And they hug each other. They embrace each other. And you can tell Kanan's pretty upset, but that's, just pretty much the end of the scene. So now we have a scene, and it looks like we are at Neek's, I'm not going to say wife, but his life partner's house. His child is there. It looks like her mother's there. And mother's not very happy about Neek being around the house, et cetera, et cetera. Once she leaves the scene, we get with Neek and his partner, and she tells him that, hey, I seen Rock, at the bodega. I seen Rock at the bodega, and she stared at her pretty hard and kind of stared her down, scared her a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. She says that she's worried and she's scared for all of them, for Neek, herself, and their child. And Neek assures her that Rock is not a threat and that she will not be doing anything. So now we switch back to Rock, Marvin, and Lou, and they're discussing Scrappy. And Marvin says he's not sure. He doesn't know. This is what he was told by Ebony. He wasn't there, so his story isn't fully checking out. And he also told her about some of his disgruntled complaints. Lou wants to be sure. Lou is like, I'm not making this move unless I am sure. Rock breaks in and goes like, hey, if this is true, this can bring all of us down. We can go behind bars for years. We gotta make this move. Lou says, look, man, I don't know. And, I had to kill someone I didn't want to kill. I'm not pulling this trigger this time. And he gets up and he leaves. He goes to meet with, Dean, the drug dealer guy who poses as a bingo, old folks bingo holder guy. He walks up and Dean's security tells him that, Dean only meets with friends and family and he's definitely not meeting with you. Neek presses the security and then Dean walks up and he agrees to take Neek in for counsel. They sit down, they start talking and Dean's like, hey man, you're really hot. I can't really mess with you. Rock has, kind of cornered your business and there's nothing I can do. Neek pushes back, says, hey man, I just needed this one favor. I've never approached you like this. I need this one favor. I can come back in. I just need a favor. Dean tells him, nah man, I can't do it, bro. And then pretty much has the security kind of escort him out. And then Neek makes a huge scene, starts yelling, going nuts, and starts breaking tables. And Dean holds his composure, but you could tell that was not going to sit well with Mr. Dean. Now switch to a sex scene. And Lou and Jessica are doing it, and they finish doing it. And Jessica breaks the news to Lou. Hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to LA. And she tells him that Crown got him the job. Now Lou stops, and it's just like, wait, Crown did this? And she's like, well, he would have done it if, he would have done it anyway. But Lou's really upset. And then when she tells him that, well, I can't stick around if no one's going to be doing anything, he tells her to get out of his studio, and that's pretty much the end of that relationship. We now come in, it's daytime, we're out, not exactly sure where we are, but Juke is watching an apartment. A woman leaves the apartment. The woman looks just like the woman in Juke's picture, looks like this can be Kenya. Juke watches from across the street, woman gets into a car, drives off, and Juke just kind of looks on. So Juke has found her mother. She didn't approach her or say anything to her, but I'm sure this is gonna lead somewhere. All right, so now we come in with Neek. He walks into his old store. If you remember, this used to be like a nice little, tailor shop. The way I remember it, little tailor shop, a lot of fashion, a lot of goons in there. Well, he comes in and the place is completely trashed. And when I first see this, I'm thinking like, okay, did Dean's people do this? Or I don't know if this is the first time he's been here in 3 months, but the place is completely destroyed. He's sitting there thinking, he's, reminiscing on good times probably. And then Worrell walks in. Neek tells Worrell, hey man, Dean ain't fucking with me. We gotta get this back. We gotta get this going. We gotta, there's strength in numbers. And Worrell tells him, hey man, I can't do anything with you. Rock has cornered everything. And he confirms to Neek that, hey, I'm working with Rock and I can't go with you. Well, that scene is kind of bad because, Neek is really down the dumps and out of desperation comes action. So now we come in, we're back in the streets. We see Jessica meeting with Famous and her mom. And Jessica's mom tells her, do not come back here. Do not come back. Do your thing, girl. There is nothing here for you. Do your thing. I love you. Do your thing. Jessica tells Fame, hey, stay with your music. Keep doing your music. And this is really tough on Famous. You can tell that he does not want to see her leave. And, she leaves and Kanan checks on him. And he's not happy. He gets upset, says, he can't believe she left, and he takes off down the street. So now we're riding in the whip. We got Scrap, we got Lou, we got Marvin. Scrap is in the back. Good position to be, you watch these kind of movies. They're talking about going to the new spot. Going to the new spot. The new spot. That's where we're going. And Scrap is so excited. It seems like they kind of maybe told him, actually, Scrap, we're sorry. You know what? That was a mistake. We're definitely going to promote you over Worrell. That was silly. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Scrap's really excited. He's talking about how he's going to make so much money, how he's going to make this spot dope. They pull up, they walk in. It's a nice, underground looking area. Well, not nice, but it looks like you can set up a drug distribution system in there. And the thing is, the Scrap is so excited. He's talking about how grandiose this is all going to be and how amazing it's going to be. And Marvin and Lou can barely even look at him, let alone even say, respond to him, and it just doesn't seem like this guy's a rat. You know what I'm saying? So Lou is turned, I'm telling you, Lou is he's giving them that look, and then a gun just comes to his head. And he looks and Scrap says, no, boom, trigger pulled. And then we see it's Rock herself has pulled the trigger. So Lou didn't pull the trigger, Marvin didn't pull the trigger. Lou actually walked out the room as it happened. Marvin kind of just was looking, but was not looking directly at it. And you know, Kanan comes in with the monologue and it says like, you know, sometimes there ain't shit to say. So he just ain't gonna say shit. So all right, guys, look, that was a cool episode. That's my recap, that's my breakdown. Guys, make sure you check in with the channel, tap in on that like button, and help me trap that subscribe button. Help me trap this, you know what I'm saying? Help me trap it. Anyway, so yeah, let's get that going. Thank you guys for watching. I'm probably gonna try to come out with a theory video sometime in the middle of the week to tell you guys where I think things are going. All right, and thank you guys for watching. All right, peace.